Welcome all earthlings and other beings. My name is Lara and this is Zollar Tarot and Art. So I'd like to go ahead and start the drawing and show you what I was seeing. And when I tell you I've been seeing this, I've been seeing them everywhere. So this has been a very like strong message. But what I was seeing, a lot of, were lotus flowers everywhere. And there are different types of lotus flowers, and lotuses are have a really very deep symbolism, mostly in the Eastern cultures, but all over the world. And they generally represent things like purity, spiritual awakening, things like that. So it might be that you're going through some sort of spiritual awakening, or you just did recently. And the lotuses they're gorgeous and pristine and beautiful, and they grow out of mud. So when we do actually go through an awakening, we have to go through what's called the dark night of the soul. And so the mud would represent having to grow out of the mud. Now this is not going to be a perfect lotus, it's a stylized one, but that's what I was seeing was a lotus, and I'll have to develop this over time. And then the rest of the picture is, all the surrounding lotus-y type things. The lotus is actually, they can have really long, like 6 to 7 foot stems, and which I was surprised about. I did just a tiny bit of research, but I just thought that was really interesting. And then, you always see them with the lily pads and everything, but they generally tend to grow about 6 or 7 inches above the lily pads. Not always, and there are different kinds. So in the Hindu culture and everything, you often see the goddess Lakshmi, who is very dear to them, to the Hindus. And Lakshmi is a beautiful goddess. She's often standing on a large lotus and holding lotuses in her hands, for instance, and that represents the connection to the god. She's a goddess, so it's supposed to be almost like a godly type of flower. If you think about yoga, I don't know if you do yoga. I do a little bit of yoga. I like yoga, but there is a pose called it's a Padmasana, I think it is, Padmasana, and that's called the lotus pose, and that's where you sit with your legs crossed. So I'm going to put this aside, and we're going to draw some cards, and I want to talk a little bit more about lotuses over time. So let me go ahead and start with the initial deck, and here we go. Okay, so I laid out your initial spread, and so I'm getting information about this. I might pull some clarifiers while we're talking about this before we do the other layers. Also, the drawing should be popping up over here so you can watch me complete that piece, mostly completed anyway. And then what you'll see is at the end of the whole entire video is the finished and colorized version of it. So what I'm seeing here, and I'm very sorry this has happened, but you're just getting over heartbreak. You've been dealing with sorrow. You got the 5 of Cups here. It's like both of these cards, because they have ships sailing here, it's like you've had to like move away from something. You've had to move away. She's moving away from what her dream was, somehow, like what she really wanted. But she's looking at the empty cups, and if she turned around, she could see that there was still hope. But I think you did that. So I'm just getting, okay, so this is laying right over the 3 of Swords here. So this is about heartbreak. So I feel like you're still going through sorrow, or you've gone through a great amount of sorrow, but through that, you're emerging as the star. You got 2 healing cards here. So you're still healing. You've gotten through the worst of it, but that's taken a lot. You really had to dive into the depths. Well, that's what the lotus does, though. It can actually, it's one of its symbols is longevity, and the reason is because the lotus can wait to blossom for a very long time. The seed can remain dormant. When I was doing a little bit of research, I was reading how one of the oldest seeds ever found, I think it was called the divine lotus or sacred lotus or something like that, was found in China, and it was like over 1,300 years old, these seeds, and they actually germinated. Because of things like that, the flower and its ability to just lay dormant for a long time under the silt, under the loam, under the you know, in the mud and in the dirt, it can wait a very long time before it really blossoms and shows its true. So I feel like you've been doing that. You've really had to work your way up through the mud and grow and build protections around you, like the lily pads for the, you know, the lotuses help protect it and support it. You know, and I was looking over here at this Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is often about making decisions. And it looks very precarious because, you know, she looks like a delicate mermaid and everything, and she's holding these swords in a very precarious way, but she's really an expert with those swords, and she's just trying to decide, without having all the information, which sword she should pull out and which direction she should move in. So she's learned how to protect herself, though, and I would not be surprised if the Queen of Swords comes up in the reading at some point. So I am going to like pull some clarifiers though. But yeah, you got 2 healing cards here. So in the past, this was showing me how you really had to do some heavy duty healing, self-love, make tea for yourself, go to the ocean maybe, you know, make yourself pretty, take care of yourself, be around better people, because this heartbreak, see, you've got the Two of Cups here. This was someone that you really loved. You really, really loved them. They were quite opposite from you, but you really, really loved them. And that just didn't work out. So you're healing from that. And I'm so sorry you went through that. But these 2 sailboats here in the Star card and in the Five of Cups card is showing me it's like you really had to move away from something. The ocean is like really big in the water. There's a lot of ocean here. So the ocean is very healing for you, or it will be if you go to the ocean. So a lot of watery references. And the lotus, which is not oceanic, it's more like swampy and everything, grows from the water as well. So, or from the mud through the water. Can I have clarification on the Two of Swords, please? I kind of want to know a little bit more about that. Judgment. Karma. Yeah, you might have called judgment on someone or some people who might have like really caused you some heartache, unfairness. Yeah, it's just like karma's playing out right now. Can I have a little more clarifier on that, please? And then we're going to pull some of these other cards. Yeah, moving away from heartache. So, okay, so what you're deciding is like, who are the people that are responsible for treating... I should say it in a different way. Who are the people who caused you heartache, who were participated in that on purpose? You know, who are your actual allies? Who are your enemies? Is this a good time to blossom? Is this a, you know, where are you going to put your efforts in when you've, you know, you made all this effort to blossom out of the mud and come forth, going through this dark night of the soul? You're deciding, I cut this person, I cut that group, I'm cutting this behavior out, this habit, you know, whatever, this belief system, whatever you need to do to get past this. Yeah. So I want to pull a little bit on your hopes and fears. I'm just pull 2 cards on this, please. All right, so there's this kind of dual thing going on where it's like you're a natural leader, you're a star, right? So it's almost like what you learned through this process, or what you're learning through this process, you almost want to share with others. You want to teach how you have discovered yourself or pulled through. But you know that there's always a price to pay for being the leader. So if you're a leader, that, you know, makes you more visible for people who want to take pot shots, and you've already gone through so much. It's just like, do I want to deal with this? But you're a natural leader, so there's something for you to share. So I'm seeing how you really hope to find the way to be a leader. You're hoping that your leadership will be effective and everything, and you also fear, you know, like what that takes, what that's going to cost you, because you've already paid so much for your, you know, for getting through everything you have. It's you know, you want to love, you want to share your heart, but you also might still be healing, so you're kind of closed down a little bit from really truly opening up. It might be that you're this lotus who's about to open up, you know how it's like a little bud and then it just kind of opens up. So it might be that you're just gradually opening up and taking your time, so that, you know, you'll know, you know, where it's safe and where it's not, and you're finding out where the actual love is, because you only want to keep people in your life who are going to treat you with respect and love you. If there are people who aren't, those are obviously the people who need to go away. So let's see. All right. Well, I mean, there's a load, they're lotuses, plural, right smack in the middle. So you saw me shuffle. Oh, there are lotuses in here too. See on the side, there's some lotuses. Oh, wonderful. And lotuses here. Okay, this is not a lotus deck. I don't know. This is, I'll list all the decks below so you can see what they're called. I didn't even pick this deck because it had lotus flowers and everything, so that's kind of funny to me. But anyway, we'll get past that. All right, so we have discretion, uncertainty, and reach. So what this is telling me is that you're really, really good at keeping secrets. You're really good at keeping things to yourself, and I highly recommend that, especially when you're working on new projects. So, you know, once the project's out or the thing is out and everything, it's ready for people to be seen, then fine. But before then, keep it all locked down. See the keys, lock it down, lock it down. So actually there are 3 keys. So there's a big message here about locking it down, keeping the secrets, right? So that's good. And you don't need to share your process with everybody till you're ready to share your process, right? And here it's talking about uncertainty. So to me, this is saying that you have this ability to keep growing and blossoming, even if you're not sure, which is what the Two of Swords is. So you might be feeling unsure, but you know this from previous experience that sometimes you just have to move forward, even if you don't have all the information. And as you, it's like the comparison of like a car at night with headlights on. And when the car is moving down the road with its headlights, it can only see as far as, you know, a certain amount, right? Because it's just very dark everywhere else. But you have to trust that the road's still going to be there. It's not just going to stop abruptly. You know, there's going to be more road. So it's kind of like that, where it's just like you just kind of have to like take it a day at a time, you know, set some goals, achieve those goals, and know that the information will come to you, the resources will come to you as you need them. So you're really good at moving through that, through the uncertainty. So obviously you've been through a few things already to know that. And then this one really complements it, saying reach. So you're really good at reaching further for things. If you need to stretch a little bit more, and I think it's no coincidence we were talking about yoga earlier, if you need to stretch and reach a little bit more, then you're going to be able to do that. You have the strength to do that, and it's like something maybe that you've developed inside of yourself, is this internal ability to just try a little harder, and that might be all it takes to finally break the surface and blossom and open up like the lotus, right? So very, very nice. Okay, so let's pull 3 more. There are lotus flowers in here, right? And this says potential, trying out your wings, budding talent, restlessness, air travel, upward progress. Okay, good. Well, it looks like you might be traveling a bit in the future. That's nice. Trying out your wings, right? Flying somewhere, going somewhere, maybe someplace oceanic, because that's healing for you. Yeah, you got a huge amount of potential. Nice. It's a budding talent, so it's budding like the lotus, right? We're talking about budding. Yeah, that's where you're at right now. You're just about to bud. You're just about to open up and blossom, show your true colors. That's excellent. Yeah, upward progress. That's really, really good. Upward progress, like the flower grows up, right? So follow the sun. Look for the sun. And this one's saying intuition, hidden knowledge, secrets at work, new talents, night shift, and record keeper. Yeah, I think that you keep secrets. You might be in some sort of profession where you have to keep secrets, or maybe you help people and you keep their secrets because they open up to you, something like that. It's because it's the secrets at work, and you're very intuitive, so follow your intuition. I mean, we obviously knew that from all the water, but so you're extremely intuitive and you keep people's secrets. It almost reminds me of like a high priestess card in the tarot. So you're going to be discovering some kind of like new intuitive gifts, perhaps, or some knowledge. Maybe you'll remember something you had forgotten. There's some new talent that you have for, it's like it says new talent. So there's something new coming in, something you're accessing because you leveled up, basically. You know, you went through the dark night as a soul, the shadow, you know, the shadows and everything, and you have been making smart choices on, you know, who to keep in your life and who to walk away from, right? So you're calling whoever you call judgment on. And then this card talks about abundance, fruits of your labor, harvest, extra cash, fulfilled, blessed, overflow. Time is ripe. Blossoming again, the ripe, right? So, yeah. You know, this is kind of weird. It might sound weird, but maybe you should go and try like to eat like the lotus root or something. I know that it has to be prepared a certain way. I don't know if they eat the lotus flower. I sometimes think that goes into a tea. So maybe get yourself a lotus tea, perhaps. Or I think in some of the Asian cultures, they use lotus, they call them rhizomes. Like the seed parts, the pods and things like that, and the stems and stuff, and I think maybe the leaves too can be cooked and put into different things to eat. So you might want to do something like that, or just have some like lotus tea. Yeah, I think you can get a hold of that probably more easily. So abundance is coming in. Good for you. You're actually, things are going to start paying off now. You're going to see things because you know, maybe this person was holding you back from the past, and the heartache definitely was, because it's really hard to produce really good things, or on the level that we want to, when we're stuck in a state of sorrow and sadness, which you have been. But you've healed enough now. What's coming up for you in the near future is all this wonderful harvest. See, so it might take a long time for that lotus to blossom, but when it is, then you can harvest it, right? So, and it says extra cash too. I mean, look at all this fruit and all this abundance here. So you might want to look into the goddess Lakshmi too. I believe she is all about abundance. So yeah, excellent. Time is ripe. Well, that's just, I'm really happy for you. So it looks like you've been moving in the correct direction, and it's not been easy, but it looks like it's going to be worth it for sure. So keep healing, keep moving forward, keep believing in your leadership abilities, keep finding the way so you can grow upward and blossom and show your true colors. So let's get some advice and the best thing for you to do before we wrap this up. Okay. Okay, so it's saying be hopeful. You know, you have I think that's supposed to be a dove. Spirit says be hopeful, and keep persevering despite the heartache from the past. You've gotten the Five of Cups twice now, so actually a great deal of sorrow you've been through, and I'm very sorry. I know that's hard. I know exactly how that feels, so I'm very sorry. And but you're doing what you need to do to get through this. And you know, you're being told to maintain your boundaries as much as possible. So are these cards pretty? That's like I think they're called the stained glass deck. I'm not sure. I'll have to put it down below for you. But you know, you've got the Ace of Cups here, and the Ace of Cups is all about new love. It's all about hopefulness. It's about a new marriage, new beginnings. So you're moving from sorrow to new beginnings, and by maintaining your boundaries and everything, being really smart about who you let into your life, being very careful, watching for the red flags, being very picky, that you choose someone who matches your energy, matches your values, and everything is going to yield the best results. All right, I want to pull one card, a bonus card for you, and let's see what it says. It's a red panda. Look at that. Prosperity. Oh my gosh, look at that. It says, open yourself to possibilities and be grateful for the abundance already present in your life. Well, that's true. Be grateful for what you have now, you know, for more to come in. It's just when you're grateful, you vibrate at a certain rate, right? You vibrate at I love everything I have, right? I love this amount of money that I have. I love that I've got this beautiful relationship. I love that I'm healthy, that I have legs to walk, that I have this wonderful bed to sleep in, that I blah, 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 whatever you're grateful for. And then the universe is like, oh, we love that you're vibing that way, and it gives you more. That's just the way it is. I don't know. So it says, allow yourself to receive and express wealth in all its forms today, tomorrow, and forever. Yeah, I mean, one of my daily practices is giving thanks every single day. I actually do it when I get up and when I go to bed and during the day, as I remember. So, and I have certain, you know, things in my environment that act as keys to remind me to do that. And I'm very grateful for my life, of course, but staying in that state of gratitude and reminding myself to constantly vibe into that state and everything keeps me higher vibing, and better things are come from that. Like the lotus growing out of the mud. So I can transform things that seem like a muddy, loamy kind of situation, swampy happy and everything, and turn that into something beautiful, because I take the time to express my gratitude to the universe and call on my spirit team and let them know I'm grateful for them. So it's definitely, you know, that's definitely a very high vibing energy, this prosperity, and that'll bring in more prosperity. So it's almost like you align with the prosperity. And one of my favorite quotes, which I said a million times before, is by a woman named 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦, and it says, measure your wealth by the freedom you have to be yourself. And this is the truth. So look at all the ways in your life that you get to be yourself, and that's something to be grateful for. You've got legs, you can walk to the store if you need something, right? That's an example. So good. So this is wonderful. I will go ahead and finish the drawing and post it in a minute. And so I hope this was helpful to you, and I really appreciate, you know, your time and coming in here to watch, and I hope this helped you in some way. If you get a chance, please go ahead, like and subscribe, because it does help the channel grow. And yeah, so until I see you next time, thank you so much for being here. Go have some Lotus tea, and I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye.